Welcome to the Witchy Work Wishes podcast, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. Welcome to Witchy Work Wishes. I am your host, Charlene, and you are joining me today for episode number 21, Deity Work, and today we are discussing Hecate. I do have a guest joining me, yay! And I asked her to join me since I don't myself do a bunch of deity work. I will let her introduce herself in just a sec, but first, I always like to pull 3 things I did over the weekend to help with my witchcraft practice. After a couple weeks hiatus, I did do some workings this past weekend, and they felt really, really good. Still kind of in a, slow mode. I won't say I had an energetic weekend, busting at the seams, but a little bit of energy was spent with some candle magic. And on Sunday, I went back to my new tarot deck for a reading. So my first card pull with my new Crow deck was amazing. I don't know about you guys, but when I get something as amazing as that was, I don't want to do anything to replace it. so I leave it and don't do any more card pulls. But I did, I asked for some guidance on what I need to do this week to ground myself and get ready for a trip coming up next week. And this trip is very important. I think I've mentioned a couple of times on previous episodes that I was attacked back in February of 2021. The attack was by somebody I love with all of my heart who was under the influence of drugs at the time. He attacked me in the middle of the night saying I was a witch and I needed to die. I was stabbed, luckily by a dull sword, so it did not go in too deep. And my collarbone broke the impact that was aimed for my heart. Now, he has been in jail on attempted murder charges until last October when a plea deal was agreed to. Now, mind you, I did not legally go after him. The state of California did. So he and I were able to somewhat try to work on a relationship still or mending it while he was in jail. So that said, a bunch of phone calls and FaceTimes have happened since then, and he is living out of state, working and going to school and doing amazing. But next week will be the first time he and I are physically in the same room together. And it may sound silly, but I honestly can't wait. I want to hold him and tell him face to face how much I love him and just hopefully be again, like be normal, whatever normal is. So this trip is about a month, into planning. My heart is so happy, but my mind is playing tricks on me and my thoughts are not helping. I know I have not emotionally healed or done the work needed to put this event and the 3 years really leading up to it in its proper place. I tried. I went to therapy for, 5 months, but unfortunately, I have therapy trauma from back when I was a teenager, and I could not get past that to, really be able to work with a therapist. So he did diagnose me with PTSD and did a couple of sessions with the EMDR techniques, so I didn't lose it every time I saw a knife. And the EMDR did help. So I don't want my other unresolved trauma to affect him, though, and all the wonderful things he's doing, to move forward and be healthy. So timing is everything, right? You can't just force things. I am hyper independent and probably need to do this journey on my own and hopefully find someone or some therapist who can assist me along the way. I do believe shadow work is the next step, and it could not be more perfect that we are talking about Hecate today. She is someone I would look to for guidance in my shadow work journey and probably be the first deity I would actually try to personally work with. All right, so the card pull for my Crow Tarot deck, I asked the question, what do I need to focus on this week to help me get ready for Monday's trip? I pulled 3 cards for the situation, obstacle, and solution. For the situation, I got the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands says, the Queen of Wands is a dominant creature sitting on her throne of lions. The energy of the Queen is healthy and agile as she moves through the world with a vibrant flair. For the obstacle, I got the World, and that card says, the World is the last card in the Major Arcana and represents the successful and fruitful end of a journey, one that you have charted since your very first step. The world symbolizes a time of great joy and relief because the hard work you have invested has finally paid off. And for the solution, I got the Seven of Cups. That card says, the crow rests as she dreams of all the things she wants. Some of her dreams lead to love and victory. Others may result in loss or deception. Because she has created so many choices, she is finding it hard to commit to a decision, and, as a result, she is stuck in place. The Seven of Cups advises you to step back and weigh all of your options. Take the time to evaluate the pros and cons of each choice with an eye towards the realistic. It is okay to be a dreamer, but eventually you will need to face reality. So those were my 3 cards with the question of what I need to do this week to be ready for next week. And I have been thinking about, the guidance with these cards, and I do believe I understand the direction I have been given. I need to do better, though, and act upon it. It's one thing to understand it, but it doesn't help if you don't take the steps to move forward. It's time to be done and move on to the next chapter. I really do believe that. I just need to maybe get a little bit of help in the being done part. So let's see. Moon status this week. We are in a Virgo full moon. This is our 3rd full moon of 2023, and this one is called a worm moon. Why is it called a worm moon? Well, the March full moon is called a worm moon because there are usually a bunch of worms coming out right about now, as spring is teasing us with her warmer winds. Since it's still cold out, though, and frost is, almost always on the ground in the morning, you'll see little worm trails through the frost. It's a time when, winter is ending and spring is beginning. So full moons, though, are a good time for self-care, meditation, reflection, journaling, and giving thanks. A Virgo full moon is a good time to think about our perfection issues, maybe, and feeling good about ourselves. Okay, I'm going to wrap this section up and grab my guest so we can get into our main topic. Okay, let's jump into today's topic, and I am so excited to have a guest with me today and welcome her back to the podcast. I've got Anika.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
All right, last you were on a podcast I did, I think it was like early November, maybe?
Quite a while ago.
Yeah. Feels like forever, doesn't it? And we were talking about your website development company, Wolf and Raven.
Yes.
But today, you are helping me with a subject on deity work, specifically talking about, and I'm going to say Hecate, but you're going to say...
Hecate, yes. I mean, I know there's a lot of sources out there that are going to say, if you want to work with her, you have to pronounce her name right. But,
I know.
I mean, we'll go further into it, but it's a relationship between you and the deity, so...
And you'll get there, right? So I did look up one of the things to honor her is to actually say her name the right way.
I read that too.
And the original way is Hecate. Mm-hmm. So my default is probably going to be Hecate, so I'm sorry if we're going to mess everybody up here.
It always reminds me of Harry Potter, and it's not Leviosa, it's Leviosa. Like,
I know exactly
it matters where the pronunciation is in the syllable.
True. Where do you emphasize?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to be talking about Hecate today, and I usually break my segments down into 3 areas. First one, I do kind of a general overview. Then second, I do how it pertains to our witchcraft practice. Mm-hmm. And then third, I always try to pull, the whole reason for this podcast is to pull ways we can bridge the topic into our work, office, and jobs. Okay, so first, I grabbed the generic stuff.
Yeah.
So she's a Greek goddess of witchcraft, necromancy, magic, and spells.
Yeah.
She's usually shown holding a key and a torch, sometimes a dagger. Does that sound right?
Yeah, definitely.
Almost always shown with her dogs, right? Or a dog for sure.
Yes.
A black dog. Hecate is associated with crossroads and entryways. She's associated with magic, witchcraft, and the dark moon. And last week's episode, I know a lot of people think the new moon is the dark moon. And I specifically mentioned the dark moon really is that day before the new moon, when it is completely dark.
It's a little bit different.
Just a tad bit. Okay, let's see. She's known for having strength in herbs, poisonous plants, graves, ghosts, and she's also known for sorcery workings.
Yes.
She can easily travel between the realms, right? The physical world and the underworld. And she is known as the triple moon goddess, representing the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And I think that can actually represent 3 other things too, right?
Yeah, it does. And I actually kind of wanted to point out the 3 things that it kind of represents for me. So obviously, yes, mother, maiden, crone.
Yeah.
And for me, I also connected to heavens, earth, and the underworld because she can go between all 3. Past, present, future.
I've seen that.
And also the waxing, the full, and the waning moon.
Yep.
So, and also that really ties into the rule of 3 if you're someone who believes in that. But yeah.
I do.
Yep.
I do. Okay, what else did I pull? Her number is 3 and also 13. I saw that. Her day is Saturday, and her calendar day is November 16th. That is
that was new to me.
Okay.
That was new to me.
I learned that last week when I was researching. What was I doing last week? Oh, days of the week. Saturn is Saturdays. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. For offerings, she likes garlic, wine, honey, fruit, flowers, and of course, the moonstone.
My kind of woman.
This is why
my kind of woman.
We gravitate towards certain
garlic, honey, and wine. Yes.
Yeah, I'd be at garlic.
I can live off of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I've got her direction is inward, which I know ties to a bunch of shadow work or healing.
Yeah, definitely.
Her tools are the cauldron, the magic mirror, and of course divination tools. I've got crystals for Hecate will be the moonstone, jasper, and black obsidian. Her tarot card is the high priestess. And then other images for her are going to be like snakes, bones, crow feathers, and anything moon-shaped, really, moon-shaped objects. All right, does that sound like a pretty good general?
Yes, it definitely does. I think you did a good job boiling down a lot of her symbolism.
Basics.
And, the basics. And, I mean, really you can put any of those things in your day-to-day life.
Something that maybe pulls or means more to you.
Using either those crystals or anything. So.
I love it. Okay.
Well, eating garlic, honey, and wine.
Yum. Yes, please. And yes, please.
The best form of, honoring her.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so that is all stuff we can easily look up.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of reading, we can do on Hecate and her history and stories. But what about working with her in our witchcraft practice? So I don't do a bunch of deity work, but I can say that I am naturally drawn to her. I really am.
Yeah, I know.
And I mentioned it before. I'm probably going to try to just let things organically happen. When it's time I'm supposed to be doing something, I will. But I know you do work with Hecate. So this is going to be your show, girl. Take us away.
So you actually bring up a good point with it, coming naturally, because that's really what I did. I didn't force anything. I didn't go out of my way. It was kind of like her calling to me, and then I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And then I started to do more research on her, which I think is the number one thing you can do to honor that deity that you want to work with. Is when you're starting off with deity work, is just get to know their history, get to know them.
Right.
That being said, I was really reluctant at first because I do have a lot of religious trauma.
Yeah.
And so being a witch for as long as I have been, it was something that I steered very clear away from.
Naturally, that was ingrained in you,
Exactly, it was ingrained in me, and the false gods and all that. Even though I knew it was something that I didn't believe in, it was just second nature to just stay away from it.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't until she started calling to me where I really started to think, this is something. There's something there. There's something there.
Do you remember? Were there any specific signs? Do you remember how you felt like she was maybe calling to you? I've looked up a bunch of that too, and there seems to be some different. And just if anybody wants to know, all the panting going on.
There's a dog, which is perfect, I guess, for this episode.
You know what? Honestly, right?
Yeah,
totally perfect.
But he's a little anxious. It's the end of the day,
and he's now up on our couches, so
perfect.
That's right.
Okay.
Was there anything specific that called to you, or do you remember that, or was it long ago?
Yeah, so my first moment of wanting to work with her was when my other dog. He was diagnosed with cancer and he was passing away. And I really wanted to do something that would help him cross over and be guided somewhere that he needed to be.
Yes.
And the more research I did, and also just, I guess naturally there was, what is it called? It's not clairvoyance, but it's kind of like clair-knowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kind of knew, okay, Hecate is showing up for me here. So, and then I called upon her and I asked her, and that was kind of my first, not spell, I guess, but my first calling on her to help guide him as he left the earthly realm.
That is so hard to have pets come in and out. Come in our lives, it's amazing, and then when they leave, it is just
And it
so
really,
painful.
I could tell she was there. I like can visually see it in the back of my head that she was there with her dogs and her lantern, you know, and guiding
the
him.
way. Yeah.
So it was definitely very special.
That's amazing. Well, do you have, just to start us off with maybe working with her, do you have any tips of what beginners should do, or how do we start getting into ways to work with her?
Well, I'm a beginner myself. I wouldn't say I've done extensive work with Hecate, but like I was telling Charlene earlier, I can only give the best advice that I know from my experiences. Again, just doing the research and really trying to connect with her on a personal level. Yeah. And so that's either, you know, offerings. I know there's a lot of people out there that you'll see to give her very specific offerings, and she's kind of this big intimidating deity that people like to say, like, she's only going to work with you if she picks you and she chooses you and all this stuff. I don't know. I kind of banter between those feelings because it's you and the deity. It's always going to be a personal relationship with that energy.
I've seen a lot of things mentioned where they say she likes to work with younger witches, but it doesn't matter. I mean, since she represents that triple moon, it really could be any age or stage of your practice that you could work with her.
And I think younger witches, I mean, I don't know physically if younger or older, that matters, but definitely she loves recognizing you coming into your own power.
I love that.
So the more that you put into your own craft and your practice, I think she really appreciates that, and that's when she's drawn to you.
I know I'm going to take a solid guess of when I'm really going to dive in with her, and that's probably going to be the shadow work that I know I need to start, and I keep putting it off. It's so overwhelming to me, but I know she could help guide through that darkness, bring the light of, hey, but you have to do it. You just have to do it.
And she definitely does, because I've done some shadow work, and she's there. She's going to be there. I remember the first time that I like really delved into a shadow work session, and it was this kind of visual guide. But so I was going down, you know, these steps, and then there she was. She was at almost the crossroads.
Yes. Perfect.
Exactly. And so she was with her 2 dogs and her lantern, and there she was, like, right in front of me, towering over me, my small little soul. And I was like, you know, yes, it's intimidating. I think it's good to be intimidated, but it means you respect her. Yeah. But don't be scared of her. Definitely.
Okay, tell us about some of how, like, if you can, you don't need to share too much or as much as you're willing to, about how you work with her. What are some things that you do?
I really try to honor her, I guess, and I wouldn't say like psychically, but try to connect with her subconsciously, and through dream work. So I do have an experience when I was really trying to connect with her, and I was doing a deep meditation, and I was like pulled into the depths of the sea. It was all dark around me, and then this like serpent came swimming towards me.
You were actually underwater. You were in the sea.
Underwater, everything was dark, and the serpent started swimming towards me, and then it kind of wrapped around me, and it was her. It was Hecate, and again, that kind of clairvoyance, that knowing that it was her.
So you weren't scared, or were you a little scared?
Well, personally, I love the idea of being dropped in the middle of the ocean. Like, I know a lot of people are so scared of the black nothingness, but I think it would be
You're
awesome.
drawn to it?
I'm drawn to it. It's comforting for me to feel that there's nothing but just black space around me. So it was really connecting to me personally, which was nice. And then with the dream work, I honestly don't even remember what I was doing.
Yeah.
I think I did some sort of small candle spell, but I woke up in the middle of the night, half awake, half asleep, and I woke up to a bunch of owls, and I thought it was common for my area.
Sure. Yeah.
I see them all the time. I just thought I didn't really think anything of it. Fell back asleep again, woke up again, and I heard coyotes. Lots of coyotes howling and yapping.
Yep.
And then in the morning, I came to realize I was only hearing that in my head. They weren't actually coyotes howling, because my partner next to me, he sleeps as light as a feather, and he's like, nope, it was quiet all night.
No.
Yeah. So that's when I was really starting to connect with her, and I knew that's her showing me that she sees me.
So that means her voice was loud enough in your head to wake you up to where you thought you were getting woken up by the sounds outside, but they weren't.
Yeah. And they were dogs, basically. Coyotes.
And owls,
dogs.
too.
Yeah, and the owls.
I don't think I said that earlier, but that is one of her...
It is one of her animals, yeah. So, yeah, that's just a few couple things, but, I'm still getting to know her, and I think with Hecate especially, it's a longer journey. It's a long game with her. It's not just, hey, can you do this for me? It's like, nope.
Is that true with most of the deities, though? Like, you don't just say, hey, can you come help me with something?
Yeah.
You've got to put some effort into establishing a relationship.
Exactly, establishing a relationship. And I know there are some deities out there that it's more on a contract level.
What do you mean by that?
Contract level would be like, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you.
Right.
So there are some deities that I think roll that way.
It's more that way, yeah.
I don't know if Hecate especially does that. I haven't gotten that vibe off of her, or,
All right. Well, what about bringing some of this energy into the office? That's always a tricky one, in that I think if you are out of the broom closet, or you work in an office space that is somehow tied to the witchcraft community, you don't have to hide anything. It is what it is.
Yeah,
what it is.
Exactly.
Most corporate offices, and it doesn't have to just be witchcraft, religion in general. It doesn't have a big place, nor should it, inside the corporate world, right? It should be open to whatever. Business is business. So I'm curious. I always am curious. This is why I started this whole podcast, about things I can do inconspicuously to still kind of bridge what I'm doing at home into the office a little bit, but also not like have every client that walks in freak
out and like, what the heck? Because yes, witchcraft is still a scary thing for a lot of people.
Exactly.
So, even in today's 2023.
Yeah. And even if it wasn't, though, I think I wouldn't want to walk into some accounting office that had a whole bunch of Catholic stuff in it, or of course, the religious side of it or spiritual side of it. I think that's very personal.
It is, yeah.
And I think the offices for the most part should be fairly neutral. So so I grabbed some things that I thought I could do. Yes. And again, I'm really new with this type of stuff as far as working with her. But I thought the first one I pulled was clean the office space as part of a dark or new moon ritual. Right, since that's her time, the dark moon, and that space is about like kind of new beginnings, right? You're starting over, it's your fresh start. I thought that would be a good way to tie into the office and maybe cleanse your office if you can, weekday, if it falls on that, and tie that into her. I thought about a protection spell. Since Saturday is Hecate's day of the week, we could maybe do a protection spell, something at home on Saturday, and then bring that item or items into work with us.
Yeah.
I was thinking of maybe grabbing like a key, a crow's feather, either some type of crystal like the black obsidian, tourmaline, or onyx. Maybe even it said, I saw something about a dog's nail clipping or something. You could use that, and then do whatever spell work I'm going to do at home, and then bring that in. That would be something small enough to maybe have in my desk drawer. Or,
I think that would actually be great to put on your keys.
Okay.
Yeah, you can even make a special key. It doesn't have to be a key to anything. Yeah.
I like that.
Instead of keeping it at your desk, I think it would be.
You could have it with you all the time. Thank you. It's good.
On the spot. Thank you.
Oh, another one I thought about, since she's good with protection, you could do something to help with boundaries, those in-between spaces. If somebody's crossing them at the office, or you're needing a little bit more protection, to do a spell like that using her energy. Of course, you can always volunteer at an animal shelter, anything
Yeah.
with dogs.
Yeah.
But doing that during the work week is probably
not
tough.
everyone has the time for that.
No, nor can we bring dogs into work
Right.
all the time. But I did think, like, if your corporate or your business or corporation does donations ever, you could maybe say, hey, could we all do the animal shelter this month, or something that would
Yeah.
also honor her. I've got practice green witchery by working with herbs and plants. I know she's all about the herbs and the plants. Now, we can almost always have a plant at our desk. So a garlic plant, okay, you could do that, right? That's not
Which I think they take like 9 months to
make a little garlic bulb.
Yeah,
really?
to have an actual garlic bulb. I think they're a very slow growing thing. But
So that's something, you could have something little there that you knew. I mean, everyone else is just gonna like, oh, it's garlic.
it's gonna look like a chive, and someone's gonna be like, "What kind of plant is that?" You're
But
like,
you know
just
these.
wait.
You can have that with a little crystal in it in the dirt.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got belladonna, which is also called deadly nightshade.
Yes.
That's an herb, highly poisonous. Another one for her is mandrake, also called Satan's apple.
Yeah.
Part of the potato family.
Yep.
But that, could you have that at your desk?
Me.
Okay.
Maybe a picture of a mandrake,
Soft me.
like the one from Harry Potter.
Oh, thanks,
it looks
yeah.
like a little baby.
That would be cute. And everybody loves Harry Potter, so that would not probably draw a lot of weird. Okay, I've got Dittany, and I don't know. I had to look this one up. This is a plant. It almost looks like lavender. Have you seen that? Dittany?
I haven't.
So it's actually kind of cool, the story with it. It says it creates frost flowers, which is, so it collects moisture in the stems and then freezes. And then when it starts thawing, the freeze expands out like little bursts of frost, and they're called frost flowers.
That's awesome.
Is that kind of cute?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of energy to pull from that.
That could be something, right? All right, the last one I have for her for plants is Hecateus, also called aconite. And Hecateus is also a very, very poisonous plant, and it's part of the buttercup family, plant family. It's really pretty, but it's
I know a lot of these baneful plants are very hard to access. Like,
you're not just going to grow them.
A lot of times you have to buy them from seed, and you have to get them imported and all
your
this
own
stuff. Thing. But I think that's
there's some options with her.
There are some options.
Can we have those at our desk? I think we can always do kitchen spells with our work food, right? With our lunches, and since she loves garlic, and I love garlic.
Yes.
Who doesn't love garlic? You can certainly make your lunch with that.
We're garlic girls over here.
Yay! I think there's a garlic festival around here too. I swear. That and an avocado festival. Okay, so the last thing is the easy one. You can always pull, colors and crystals to wear that would honor her, right? But you can also take, and I love the idea of the perfume roller balls and doing, drawing things out actually on your body.
I love that.
Right? And you don't have to be artistic. Nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
You could do your own sigil. You could do runes. You could do Hecate's sigil.
Any of her symbols.
Yeah.
You could do, there's so many things. I think that would be a fun way, at least in the morning, if you need that extra power.
Yes.
To draw something that represents her. Physically draw it on with the roller ball.
And if you don't want to waste your perfume, I feel like you can always do a little dot and then rub it in with your finger.
Ooh, I like that.
Just so you're not
You're like
rollerballing all these things on your body.
Okay. What do you have? What are some things ideas you have that we could use in the office?
So I don't know. Should I start off with big or small?
Either one. Let's go big.
Okay, let's go
big. Let's just do it.
So one of the bigger ways,
yeah,
I would say is, Mother Maiden Crone. I think that there is a lot for that to be pulled from.
I do too.
Personally, when you've been practicing for a long time, every witch does this, but you put so much energy into things, you blow your channels, and then all of a sudden you feel like you don't have any more magic left in you.
Sure.
When in reality you do. It's just you've put in too much of yourself into spells and rituals and all this stuff, and
it
you
be
can't
draining,
pour from
right?
an empty cup.
Yeah.
And so I think with the mother, to start off, we can definitely harness that energy and, pull from her energy to protect ourselves. So not only are we staying away from draining ourselves, but we're kind of I don't know the words.
No, I know, protective. Like a mother would be over her. Yeah, I like
exactly. That. And so I think with the mother energy, if you're dealing with certain clients or coworkers, harness that and be there for them. And, I got you and I'll do this for you, and be very supportive and be that motherly kind of figure.
Yeah, and
Of course,
energy.
professionally.
But
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
The maiden, I think, would be really good for kind of being that more upbeat, approachable, playful, maybe kind of alluring at sometimes to get your way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really...
Playing the jokes, maybe the office jokes.
Playing the office
playful.
jokes and...
Flirty.
Getting your way sometimes.
Maybe not the flirty, the word, but I know what you mean.
Alluring.
Yeah, alluring.
Bit,
That's a much better way.
And then, the crone. And we could pull energy from the crone and being wise and mainly being wise, being confident in what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one to really focus on is, what kind of energy am I going to pull from this? You get a nasty email and you're high in your emotions and you want to immediately email back, take a step back and say, okay, what can I use from Hecate?
I like that.
Make this a little easier.
That's great advice. Okay, good. I like that one a lot.
Okay, so smaller things, a lot like you, I wrote down, like things we can have at our desk.
Yes.
So herbs. I have some flowers and herbs. Love it. They're not poisonous.
Because it's nice to have a visual. Like sometimes it's if you can take a moment and get up in your head to do that mother, maiden, and crone thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need a quick visual, a quick reminder as you're glancing on your desk. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, I've got her today.
And personally, I think not only can we pull the energy from these things at our desks, but we can use them as offerings too. And
Absolutely.
It can kind of be a little altar space. Mm-hmm. Say, Hecate, this is for you. And so I have Lily of the Valley.
Yep. I like it.
And that one has a long history of usage for witches, for love and prosperity spells.
Okay.
Which also, all these are going to connect to Hecate.
Sure.
Dandelion.
Yes.
Everyone loves dandelion. It might not look the prettiest, but it's really tasty. So not only can you have dandelion tea, and you can stir your tea, and you could stir it with her sigils.
Yes.
You can have it at your desk.
I love it.
You can have it in a salad.
You can't you?
Yeah.
That's right.
So they're really good for healing the body and warding off harmful energies. And then I have mullein, which has been used for divination and banishing evil spirits for a really long time. It's a pretty flower.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And then lavender. Lavender is a really big one, which also connects to purple. And
yes.
purple is one of her favorite colors. Yep. And it's associated with dreams in the underworld. And that's something that Hecate is very, very versed in. Yeah. And that's one of her worlds. So I think that's a really good one. It's more of a magical one, I think.
Now, and you're even thinking just even a couple stems of the lavender? Like
you can
just
have
something at
a
your
bouquet
desk.
and just put maybe a couple in there.
Yeah.
And have them specifically designated or offered to her.
I like that.
Yeah. I think one more thing would be makeup.
Ooh.
In the morning, you could definitely kind of do your makeup to kind of wear her energy as your armor all day long.
Yeah.
I personally like a lot of black. But black is a really significant color for her, It represents her role as the night walker.
Right.
And then there's red. We all love a red lip.
Always.
Which is really representing the blood of the mother that flows in all of us. Mm-hmm. And that high feminine energy. And
that's a powerful one.
It is a really powerful one.
Red lips
and
are powerful.
when you have red lips, all eyes are on you.
Absolutely.
And you know it.
You know it.
You made that a
This
point.
is your day. Yeah.
Exactly. And white. White is, her Star Walker energy. It's her universal force, and it's reminding you to connect to your higher self.
I've got it slated, not to do a little side note, but I've got it slated to start pulling some information on mirror magic. I'd like that as one of my podcast things. So would Hecate be somebody to look into for that then?
Yes.
She would be. Okay.
I think so. Mirror magic is cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm curious enough, and I do think it's something I could start doing for work to bridge, my home and work witchcraft stuff. So that's interesting if she's big on the makeup.
Yeah.
To potentially use that energy and that power as you're getting ready in the morning.
And those colors.
And the colors. Yeah.
Really honoring her when you're doing that. When getting ready.
I know. It's so powerful to get ready that way either way,
it
right?
It is.
Yeah.
You really are putting on your armor and then
you are.
You're doing your makeup in her colors, and then you're gonna take your rollerball perfume. You're gonna draw her little sigils all over your body. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, any other good words of wisdom for working with her?
I would say, go your own pace.
Yeah.
And don't believe everything that you see, watch, or read, because at the end of the day, it's you and the deity.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I really do.
Don't let those things scare you off, because it did kind of scare me off at first, especially working with Hecate, until she came to me and was like, "No, I see you. I want your attention.
I got you. Let's do this together.
Yeah,
Don't look at that
exactly.
other stuff."
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Because that's somebody else's experience with her. And I'm a big believer in if they have a bad experience with Hecate and they need to be intimidated and they need to kind of be put in line, she knew that that's what they need.
Doesn't mean that's what you need.
That's not what you need. Yeah. So not everybody's experiences are the same.
You think that's true with any deity work?
Definitely.
It's just they're going to work with you and your energy and what you need to get yourself to that higher version.
Yeah.
Not what somebody else needs. It's not a generic, this is what's happening.
Yeah, they already know your vibration.
Yeah.
And they already know what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And if they choose to come forward and say, yeah, I can work with this individual.
Yeah.
They're only going to help you. I think it was really good.
Good. All right. Okay. Well, I did actually write a poem. I know it's been a while. I've been slacking quite a bit. So I'm going to go grab that. I'm going to say thank you to Anika. I love doing this. I'm just going to have to book you once a month because I...
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Definitely. You can pick something and then come to me and be like, hey, does this sound good?
Or you know what? What do you think? I would, if there's something I haven't jumped into, I'll show you what my next, I usually try to plan about a month in advance.
Yeah.
If there's something that you would like to talk about, I do not mind.
Because I'm also a listener. So.
Thank you. But I would love just to bring you in and then give you the floor. Take it away. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, pick
totally
a topic
down.
and
Totally
we'll just we'll fill you in.
Yeah.
Yay!
Awesome.
All right. Well then, I'm gonna go grab my poem. And Anika, thank you so much. I love going back and forth with you on this stuff.
Yes,
I really do.
Thank you so much for having me and everyone who's listening.
Yay! Okay.
Bye.
All right, I've got my poem, so here we go. Goddess of witchcraft, ruler of magic, help me move past all things that are tragic. Show me the way with your herbs and plants, with all of the power your energy grants. I honor the space where you stand so strong, the doorways and crossroads forever long. Your dogs and torches mean so much to me, and forever my symbol of 3 will be. In darkness I travel and fight my fears. Alone and brave I have been for years. I am tired now and need your light, your torch and gifts to guide me right. Beyond the veil I am willing to go and talk with those who really know. I hold your key to my heart and sigh. To your gates of magic I soon will fly. The triple moon in all her glory will help me sort my lifelong story. And with the maiden, mother, and crone, and the power of 3, I am not alone. I call you, Hecate, I know I am able. Your work is not for the weak and feeble. I will gather my strength and know you are near. I'll battle my demons and all that I fear. Goddess of witchcraft, ruler of magic, help me move past all things that are tragic. I call on you now, I am ready this day. I summon my goddess, Hecate. That is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me today on Deity Work with Hecate. Have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me today at Witchy Work Wishes, a place to find your weekly inspiration for bringing your personal witchcraft practice into your business, work, and office. For more information and additional content, please visit me online at witchyworkwishes.com. If you want to send me a personal note, please email me at info@witchyworkwishes.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Witchy Work Wishes.